Now let's say hello to the daring young man in the flying balloon.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Bob Waligunda.
Number two.
My name is Bob Waligunda.
Number three.
My name is Bob Waligunda.
And here is the airborne affidavit of Bob Waligunda, as follows. I, Bob Waligunda, am a hot air balloonist. It is my conviction that for thrills, pleasure, and a real feeling of getting away from it all, there is nothing better than ballooning. I fly balloons both for fun and profit. I operate a balloon flying school. I am president of the world's only balloon airline. And I recently did a 10-week tour of the U.S. for a television special. I sailed over the Golden Gate Bridge, crossed the Grand Canyon, landed in the Rocky Mountains, past Mount Rushmore, over the Kansas wheat fields, and came down in the Gulf of Mexico. Then I made a visit to a rock concert. My final stop on my odyssey was Central Park, right in the middle of New York City. Signed, Bob Waligunda. One of the great things about New York City is you can land right in the middle of Central Park in a balloon and nobody will ever notice.
Get it
Except the people who mug you and steal your balloon. So let's start the questioning with Gene Rayburn, please.
Yes, sir. Number three, is this a dangerous thing to do?
No, not really.
You feel it's safe?
Yeah, there are dangers to it like there are to everything, but it's very safe.
Number two, it says here you have a world's only balloon airline. I'd like to know where you go to, so I never go there. Where is this? Where do you go?
Well, the school is based in California, in Santa Monica, and we'll go wherever any passenger wants to go.
You mean it's a custom trip?
Yes, completely, for promotional use or personal rides.
Well, then number one, suppose the wind isn't blowing right. Suppose somebody says, I want to go from Sacramento to Las Vegas. How do you accommodate that?
You go where the wind goes.
Well, and you pay for that?
Well, it's the fun of doing it.
Oh.
And from Gene, we go to Peggy.
And number two, it says that you've got a hot air in your balloon. How do you keep it hot when you're going over those cold places?
Well, the air in the balloon is heated by propane gas. The flame is driven up into the balloon by a blast furnace, and that heats the air and keeps the balloon up.
And number three, isn't there danger of fire up with the hot air furnaces going into that balloon?
No, the opening at the bottom or the mouth of the balloon is wide enough so that the flame doesn't hit the balloon.
Yeah, right. Number one, how much is it to go from Santa Monica to Catalina in your balloon?
Well, it's $65 for one flight per person.
Is that back and forth or just one way?
As the wind flies.
I see. But suppose the wind kept blowing and you wound up in Central Park for $65?
Well, then you had a very good trip.
I'll say you have.
Bill Cullen?
After that, I don't think there's anything I want to ask. Number three, the trip between Catalina and Los Angeles, which way is it usually? I mean, where do you usually begin that trip?
At the beginning?
Well, we didn't make a trip between Catalina and Los Angeles, but normally the winds are west, so you go from Catalina to Los Angeles.
Number two, did you have to have a special permit to land your balloon or take your balloon off from Central Park? I assume you both took off and landed there.
Well, City Hall was very helpful. It took 2 months and 22 permits before we were allowed to do it.
And you did not fly into Central Park. Actually, what you did was transport. Am I right? Number one, I'll ask this of you. Am I right in thinking that you transported the balloon to Central Park and then merely made a slight ascension?
Oh, no, I flew in.
From where, number one?
From Hackensack, New Jersey.
Great place to
I don't blame you, number one.
Kitty Carlisle, please.
Well, number two, how long can you fly on one thing of propane gas, one tank full?
Well, I always use 2 tanks, and it really depends on the temperature outside the balloon, but it ranges from 4 to 6 hours.
Oh, that far?
Yes.
Number three, how many passengers can you take at once?
Well, that too depends on the temperature on the outside, but normally two or three, possibly 3.
And number one, how many balloons do you have in your fleet?
And mine, there are 6.
Uh-huh. Now, number two, when you have to fly from Catalina to Los Angeles, and I imagine you're based in Los Angeles, how do you get the balloon over there? By boat?
Yes.
or you carry it by boat?
Well,
Number 3, when it's collapsed.
I'm sorry, Kitty. The bell just rang. That means that it's balloting time. You make up your minds. We'll try to make up ours. Let's take another look at number 1, number 2, and number 3. Everybody knows what the penalties are for a wrong vote, so we'll start immediately with Gene, please.
Gary, we all have to go to Hackensack, New Jersey sooner or later. And I almost voted for number 1 on that. I really think it's number 2, but I voted for number 3 because he's a cool cat and he says it's not dangerous, and that's why.
We got a 3, Sean. Peg, what do you come out?
Well, number 2 is a fine actor when he said 22 permits in 2 months and everything, but I don't think he's the right one. I think number 1 has that wonderful mustache so that when he's in his balloon ads, he looks like a balloon person. So I voted for number 1.
You're a balloon person.
Right.
All right, Bill Collins.
Yeah, but I don't think you get from Hackensack to Central Park, so I voted for number 2. I believe his permits, because you do need
Wow,
permits.
boy, are we separated. Kitty, you're going to have to break the tie.
Well, number 3 gave me a very strange impression when he was trying to explain why the balloon doesn't burn up. And so I voted for number 2, who walked in with a very great air of determination.
And a parachute.
Very well. The votes are all in. And will the real Bob Waligunda please stand up? Yeah. Gene Rayburn had him. Thank you, Bob, very much. Let's find out who your imposters are. Number 1, sir. What is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My real name is Sias Motel, and I'm a director and a photographer.
Good to have you. Number 2, sir. What is your real name? What do you do?
My name is Bob Dunn, and I work for a local advertising agency called J. Walter Thompson.
I've heard of it. I've heard of it. And Bob Waligunda, the real one, that was a great film that we had. For whom, to whom are we indebted for? Who took the film?
Time Life Films in New York, and it was sponsored by Alcoa on the Alcoa Hour.
I see. Okay, Bob, good to have you here as well as your friends. Thank you so much on behalf of the Tell the Truth.
This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.